we're going to get the burgers ready, and in about 15, 18 minutes, the fire should be hot, and we're going to go and put the burgers on. So, I like onion. So one of my cooking rules, it's like gift giving for me, is I cook and I give what I like. I guess that's one way for me to know who my friends are. If they like what I like, then we're probably in pretty good shape. So I like a nice slice of onion on a burger, and this will go on the grill so it'll cook, which is why I can do this without gloves on. And a couple slices of tomato, onion, cheese. If I get coerced, I might put 2 or 3 slices of bacon on the burger. What? Do I have to use a pork product in order to say that'll do pig?
That makes sense.
All right. So, okay. Oh darn! I got to put bacon on my cheeseburger. So anyway, I like a couple of nice thin slices of onion. So we'll get that ready to go. And a couple slices of tomatoes. This is a tomato I actually picked in my garden at home today. Our tomatoes, the greenhouse has kind of accelerated. You can't tell from today because it's cloudy and rainy out here today, but the greenhouse has accelerated. Frankly, it's too hot to grow things in the greenhouse now. I've also got some sliced cheddar, which we did on the slicer, but you can buy it sliced or you can cut it up. It's also not a bad idea sometimes with these to grate some cheese. A little mound of grated cheese will sometimes work better than slices. So what I've got here is ground chuck. I moved that. We've got to come back a little bit. There we go. There's a balance. You can buy in the supermarket. You can buy anything from about 73 or 5% meat content to 93. Now, what that number is the ratio of meat to fat in the ground beef. Fat is tasty. Fat burns more quickly, flames up more quickly when you're. That's actually what does flame up when you're cooking, particularly over an open fire. And it makes things shrink because it melts out. So I like, when I'm doing burgers, I like 80% lean, 80 to 85% lean. I don't think there's enough flavor, and I like a little bit of the flare up, the flame that you get from the fat melting out. So I don't like to use the lean meat, and I don't like things to shrink so much and to burn like crazy. So you don't use the 73% or the 75%, which is much fattier. So I'm making these. These are probably about 6-7 ounces, and it's quite simple. But the one thing you want to avoid is, well, a couple things you want to avoid. You want to make sure the edges are all tied together. You don't want to have, see, if you've got sort of fray and breaking on the edges, that will kind of make it tough to turn and manipulate on the grill. The other thing is the meat, as the fat does leak out, will kind of contract. And what it wants to do is it wants to kind of go back into its round, spherical, the ball shape. So I make a point of tapping the middles of the burgers down a little bit. So it's almost like there's a little well in the top of them, so that when they contract a little bit, you can see that's the break in the edge that I want to avoid. So I want to pat that around the edge and get that so it's got a nice, smooth, uniform edge, which will make it easier to turn and make it cook a little more evenly. So I like these to be flat-ish, little taller around the perimeter than in the middle, because when it draws in, it'll end up with a more uniform thickness to it. Now, I'm a simple guy in terms of seasoning. I like salt, garlic, pepper, and I'm not going to get into mincing garlic and mixing it in and whatnot, although you can do that. So I am going to put a liberal dose of garlic powder, fresh black pepper, you can see I'm putting quite a bit on there. A fair amount will fall off. and then some salt. When I use a big thing like this, or when there's stuff that's likely to catch inside a container, I always make a point. Good rule of thumb with cooking is to put something in your hand or in the cap so you don't end up, I've ruined things because I was trying to put just a little tiny bit of cayenne in the chili, and all of a sudden I got 6 inches of cayenne in it, and nobody can get near it because it'll burn the hair off their chest. So I try to put those things in my hand or in the cap, and then I can pinch on a portion that I like. And salt's cheap, so away it goes. And then pat that gently so it sticks. And now, all right. So we've been inside, we made our burgers. We were about 15 minutes, 18 minutes after we lit the fire. So, Kelly, can you bring the camera over? Let's see what this fire looks like. Glowing red in the middle, glowing orange in the middle. So we're going to go right ahead and dump that out. Dump it right in one edge of the grill like that, so that you've got... One of the great things about Weber's is that you can concentrate the heat because of its shape. It's like a parabola, I guess, or something like that. And you can focus the heat on it. You can kind of tune the grills, which is also great when you're cooking things long, like smoking pork and that sort of thing, because you can, with the vents on top, you can kind of tune the grill and make hot spots and cool spots so you can keep things going. Put the grill on, and then we're going to give that a couple of minutes, scrape it off a little. Give that a couple of minutes because we want, when the meat hits this grill, we want this grill to be very hot, like 600 degrees, something like that. So when it hits it, it sears very, very quickly. So we've got a nice big fire, plenty of space to get all 3 of those nice big 6 or 8 ounce burgers over the coals. So we're going to let the grill heat up for 2 or 3 minutes, and then we're ready to cook. Cooking great. The steel is getting hot in there. I'm going to put a little skim of nice soft butter on my hamburger buns. I use a nice brioche bun because I like a little bit of sweetness to that bread, or you can use like a Kaiser or a crusty bun. It's been now 2 or 3 minutes since we put that cooking grill on top of the coals. So the steel in that grill is nice and hot, so we get a good sear as soon as we put the meat on it. So I think we're set to put the meat on. Now you can judge whether or not I let this get hot enough by the sound when these burgers hit the grill. So we've got a nice round, slightly concave burger, and we're going to flip that over, put the seasoned side down on the fire first, and it's going to sizzle. So that's a good sign. Cooking on a grill is, kind of the dad thing, kind of the backyard thing, kind of the, throw the kid into the pool thing, whatnot. We're obviously out back here on the loading dock at the back of the MHAB Kitchen. But there's still a little zen to it, love the smoke coming out, and it's just a really cool thing. I love cooking out on fire. There's something very, kind of primitive and that connects with me. Makes me
feel like a man.
Now, remember we were talking about how the meat contracts a little bit and goes back to its spherical shape. You can see on these guys, this one is a little bigger and had a little deeper well in it, so it's still got a touch of a well. But these guys now, even though when we put them on the grill, they had a depression in the middle, you can see how that is now reversed itself as the meat contracts. What's happening is the fat is dripping out of that, and the meat is contracting itself. The patty is contracting, and it's pulling itself back into that sort of domed rather than concave surface. So that's why we put that little well in the top of the burgers before they go on the grill. I think these are about ready to flip. They've been on there for about 2.5 minutes. So we're going to flip them over. We're going to put bacon. God, I love bacon. We're going to put bacon and onion and cheese on them. There. See, now we got some of that nice black char. Yeah. Oh, man. Good summer eats right there. So I'm going to put, this is pre-cooked bacon. We cooked it in the, we use a lot of bacon on sandwiches here at MHAB. So we cook it, sheet pans at a time. And we cut it before we cook it. So it's half size, just easier size and shape to use on sandwiches. And then some onion. And this is sliced cheddar. You can use whatever kind of cheese you like. As I said, shredded cheese can be good sometimes because it melts a little bit differently. And I'm going to put 2 pieces of cheese on most of these. Well, I got 5 pieces, so I'm going to do 2 on 2 of them and 1 on the third. Now, to make a grape cheeseburger, you need to hold the heat in because the heat's coming up from the bottom and there's not a lot of heat hitting that cheese. So this is where I really like a Weber. So I've got the vents open over the area where the food is on the grill. You know, the coals are over here, the burgers are here. I put the grill here so that the heat comes out from the fire and goes out that vent. So that's where the heat is held. Also, the vents on the bottom are wide open. So that's going to want about 2.5 minutes, and you'll see that there's still enough hot underneath to char the bottom of the burger, and there's enough heat coming in under that dome as the heat collects up here and will move down very quickly so that there's enough heat to melt that cheese so the cheese is nice and runny and drippy. And trick with lidded grills like this, it's the same thing when you're taking foil off something that's been in the oven or when you're taking a lid off a pot that's been on the stove. Open it to protect yourself. And I could open this way and have all that smoke hit me in the face. But I'm going to open it away from myself, let that smoke clear a little bit. Oh my gosh. Wow. Hungry yet?
Yep.
So we're going to give these buns just a quick warm. Put them right over the hot coals. And that butter is going to melt, and they're going to get a little bit of char on them very quickly. We're almost done. You know, we shoot these videos in the morning, but something tells me we're going to eat lunch at about 9:15 this morning. I'm pretty psyched. All right, so it's getting just a little brown around the edges on these buns. The butter is melted. And on with the burgers. Get that guy on. Little touch of char on that bun. Yowzer. That'll do, pig. I love this country.